And we're back.
Welcome to No Direction Beyond, your source for Starfinder's news, reviews, and interviews. I'm Alexander Gunas, No Direction's everyman gamer, and I'm joined, as always, by my intrepid co-host, James.
Hi, I'm James. I used to write for Code Switch, and I'm a ghost today.
Yes, just for a brief heads up for everybody, James is working on besting a cold. So he is going to be here and he's going to be chiming in when he can, but expect it to be a little bit less than typical. However, it's not going to be a episode with less content than usual because I'm joined as always by, not always, but by Paizo's wonderful senior developer, Jessica Catalan. Wow, I'm batting zero today. How are you doing, Jessica?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Audie
Good, good.
Ball.
Can I call you Jess, or do you prefer Jessica?
Either way.
All right, cool. Jessica, it's been a long time since you've been on the show with us.
Yes, it
We,
has been many years.
yeah, we were trying to like figure it out in the pre-show, and it's got to have been at least three, right?
At, at, at,
Yes.
at least it was the first one or two seasons of
It would
Starfinder Society.
be yeah, it would be between 3 and 4.
Whew,
Hmm.
that's a lot of stuff. And you know what? I feel like we're in this magical time right now where like Starfinder core rulebook is out, our alien core is out, right? GM core is out, player core, everything. We just got the trifecta of a Starfinder amazement. We've got the Abslam book, and so like, or not the Abslam book, the Galaxy Guide. The Abslam book just got announced, right? Am I crazy? I think I'm crazy.
Well, I mean, if you say it, I'm gonna assume that somebody
Yeah,
knows
that's
something.
that's fair. I don't know. Maybe it just I have no idea anymore. Time is an illusion. For all of the listeners and anybody joining us live, I got a new job like in January, and my head is kind of like spinning. I'm not really sure where I am or what I'm doing anymore. So maybe there's an Absalom Station book. I don't know. Seems logical to me. I do know for a fact that Galactic Ancestries comes out next month. That one's penciled in our schedule.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
so
good.
excited.
Cryptwalker 76, there was an Absalam book announced. It's not a fever dream of mine. Okay. Thank you so much. Um, somebody also Oyman ya boy man in chat wants to know, Jessica, how is it carrying Starfinder Society second edition on your back?
Ooh, you know what? Let's not say heavy. Let's say light as a feather.
let's say five bulk. All right. So
I'll just
obviously by
get
this point,
shorter every year.
right? So I guess at this point, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Gen Con is typically the point where like the new season typically kicks off, right? Is that
Yes,
still true? So
that is true in second edition. Yep.
yeah, so if that's true, then that means like we're pretty close to like, the point like in an anime where the first core is over and then the second core starts, but the second core always starts with like going over a recap of what was in the last core in case you forgot during the mid-season break. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mid-season recap.
I feel like that's where we're at right now. Like we need a mid-season recap of Starfinder Society, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All
okay.
right, all right, all right. So tell me, how many of my favorite faction leaders from first edition are still around?
So in second edition, we don't have factions anymore.
What?
Those characters, excuse me, who's not playing my game, sir? So those characters are still around, definitely. But we don't actually have factions anymore. We made a lot of changes going into second edition with
Yeah.
Starfinder Society in terms of wanting to make getting into organized play as simple and easy as
Mhm.
possible.
Hmm.
So you will find a lot of those extra things that were only organized play things. We have cut down on as many of those as possible so that
Hmm.
as long as you have a player core or you know the rules from online and you show up with a character or not, you can just hop into a game and play. So
Now,
you will see lots of fun faces, but we don't technically have factions anymore.
okay, that's probably good because like whenever you see the Starfinder Society or even the way back, like however many thousands of years in the past, those pesky Pathfinders, whenever they're talking about it, it's always like like, yeah, in the organized play they talk about the factions, but like in the books it's always they just talk about the society as a whole usually. So that's probably for the best. You mentioned that like most of the barriers and like most of the society specific rules are gone. Are there any that are still around?
I mean, you'll still get a chronicle sheet at the end, which is specific to organized play. We use simplified XP system, right? Same as
Mhm.
Pathfinder Society does, so that you know whatever campaign you're in, you get X XP, you level up so many times, so
Mhm.
that it feels the same. So there are some things that we keep between the two. Each scenario is written for 2 levels.
Mm.
So you'll find a level 1 to 2 scenario or 3 to 4, so you can play as long as you're one of those 2 levels. But we don't have so it's broader, right, than what we expect
Mhm.
if you're doing a regular um print line adventure, but also it's less than it used to be, right? We used to have
Mhm.
4 per scenario.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
some things like
How
that.
what's
Mhm.
the highest level bracket nowadays?
So for Starfinder Society, the campaign itself goes to 10. We
Oh,
are
okay.
for second edition, it's hard cap at 10 the whole
Oh.
time. You can make a character at level 1 or
Mhm.
3 or 5 or 7. You do not have to
Wow.
start at 1 and play all the way through. We've also got
Mm.
pre-gens for all those levels. So when you see like a level 5 to 6 adventure you want to play, even if you've never played before, or if your character's already played that one, so you want to play it with somebody different or anything like that, just to fill the table or something, you can just hop right in, right, with a new character, and you don't have to worry
Oh,
about that.
that's pretty cool. So, like, if my boyfriend has been playing for like the entire season and I decided I wanted to jump in and he's already level 5, I don't have to wait and make him make a new character to play with him.
Nope, you just make level 5 and hop right in, or you get one of our pre-gens.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yep. Yep.
That's cool. Are there
Mhm.
pre-gens for all the classes that are currently out? The typical stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
Who's your favorite pre-gen?
Oh, I really, really like Solarians. I like to
Ah.
make a solar weapon and just go punch you in the face with it,
Mm, mm.
and
And
occasionally explode.
and and
So
and
so
and
day.
the fact that it's day of all characters has nothing to do with
Yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah. So I like that a lot. My daughter would say that Ice of the Operative is the best because she is a huge operative fan. So
Nice, nice.
shout out there.
Um, in chat, Lava Being wants to know if the pre-gen characters are available at all the level brackets you said. It's like all like the starting levels.
1, 3, 5, and 7. Not
Cool,
at level 9, because if we have a level 9 to 10 highest level we do adventure, you do have to level up at least from 7 to get there. So you can't
cool.
jump in on one of like we would do that for like end of a meta plot if it's a higher level meta plot kind of thing, or a higher
Mm.
level standalone. So not at 9 we don't, but all the other levels, yes.
I mean, it's something you would do, but haven't done yet, right? Right? Because I
We
mean, like
shall
the
see.
the meta plot can't be at the end now. We're at the mid season. The
We
mid season.
are. Yeah, we
Yeah.
are. We have, oh gosh, what month is it? What scenario just came out?
Mm,
I want to say 17 and 18 just came out. So this year total, we're gonna have about 26 scenarios, and of the 26 total,
mm,
16 of them are meta plot scenarios. So we have a very um long, involved meta plot ongoing. So every scenario is standalone,
mm.
but some of them connect, right? We've got some 2-part scenarios or 3-part scenarios, but our meta plot is like the big one. So that's 16. We have, oh goodness, one, two, how many do we have in it? I think 6 or 7. No, we got more than that. 8 of them at least so far.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we've got lots. We've
yeah.
got lots.
I did notice when I was looking through these society scenario catalogs, I was going to run some for some friends, that so many of them were meta plots, and I feel like it's a higher percentage than it used to be.
It is in the first year, right? If you did Scoured
Mm,
Stars had a very high percentage of meta plot compared to the others. And in the following years, we went a little lower and a little lower, right? Because we wanted to get more kind of standalone stories, and we kind of shrunk it. And I mean, last season of first edition, for example, meta plot was 3 scenarios, right?
Hmm.
Because we
mm,
wanted to tie up as many first edition ongoing plot lines we could, so we really shrunk our meta plot, right?
mhm.
Hmm.
But with the launch to second edition, most of us on the team, like me especially, I played Scoured Stars. Thurston was in charge at the time, right? He made Scoured Stars, Jenny's done Scout. Like so many of us really loved that. How in the beginning of first edition there was a lot of meta plot. Even though you could play everything standalone, there was lots of little connections or even things that spun off in totally different things because you met one NPC at that one time. And that was really something we wanted to do coming forward into second edition again, is we wanted to shine a spotlight on the meta plot, do something meta plot heavy, right? Not all of the meta plot scenarios that are marked meta plot are directly in there. Some of them are just like before, right? How you would meet a character and then here's a side mission with that one. It's technically still meta plot because
Mm.
you just met them, but you
Mhm,
don't really have to play that in the sequence kind of thing. But yeah, we
mhm.
have a big investment in meta plot this year, which was really fun to go back to, right? Because that's when you're doing 16 plus, we had a special launch adventure as well. Like that's a lot of entries kind of in the story. You get to do a lot more.
That's awesome. Now, one thing that's being discussed in chat, they're talking about replayability. Are all the society scenarios replayable in second edition?
Every single one. If
Oh,
you play it with a different character or apply your GM credit to a different character, that's totally fine. But you can
awesome.
play over and over again, every single one.
That's amazing. That's
Mm.
I mean, like back in the day, they used to have the replayable ones that kind of like went out of their way to try and like have randomized elements to try to make them replayable. But I also think that a lot of those ended up kind of feeling a little patchwork. So I'm kind of happy to see that it's just like, yo, we trust you. Don't be a jerk and ruin everybody else's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since when you have so few replayable scenarios, then
Mhm.
everybody's playing those 5, 10, 15, 20 times with every
Mhm.
single character they have. So you sometimes get
Mhm.
those experience where someone at the table has played it so much, like they know this thing like the back of their hand. They could, right? Like, I
Mhm.
mean, I have certainly played some old Pathfinder Society ones that much, right? It's in there.
Y-
But like when they're all replayable, it's a bit more balanced, hopefully, right? Like you don't have to play this one scenario over and over to get that character to the next level, right? Because you can make it any level, but also any of them, right? Play your favorites, play different ones, come
You
back to
know,
one years later when you've forgotten what happened, right?
it's funny that you bring that up because we had Mike Kimmel on the show last month, and Mike Kimmel wrote Gallows of Madness, which is one of James and my favorite Pathfinder first edition adventures. It's a great adventure, don't get me wrong, but the big reason is that it was split into three components and each part was worth a whole level. So you could skip level one by playing any one of these. And so literally James and I and a bunch of our friends had this weekend where we were at a con and not enough people showed up for a bunch of the scenarios to fire. So we literally all took turns playing these three components of Gallows of Madness. We probably like we got at least five characters to like level two or three just running this one adventure nonstop. So I'm kind of I hear what you're saying and I agree that that's probably not the ideal way to consume content.
I mean, as long as everyone at the table is having fun.
That's true. We
You'll be
did
that
have fun.
one player who doesn't know what's going on, and everybody else will be just speed running.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
also allows you to probably gather some good information, right? Because you get to see what scenario gets played over and over again.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you can. Yeah.
We have a lot of chats going on. I think there's a scenario coming out about gnomes, right? Is that part of the second core of season one?
Gnomes, they are talking about Pathfinder Society.
Oh.
Oh, they're talking about Pathfinder
But
Society.
unless are they talking about an adventure? Or are they talking about
Gnome liberation?
ancestry?
I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm confused. There's a lot of chat. There's a lot of chatter about gnomes in chat right now for anybody who is listening to the podcast later. But James and I are always live on Twitch. So if you ever want to see what kind of weird things get talked about in our Twitch chat, like the gnome liberation that Shanwolf is apparently running, stop by twitch.tv slash no direction. Maybe next time we'll talk about the great dwarf uprising. I don't know. But there was an uprising in Starfinder second edition, right?
There wasn't.
Polaris. Yeah. The
Oh yeah,
Petra planet.
sorry.
Yeah. I now correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding we're talking to Mike last month and
Mhm.
just kind of reading the rule book, it sounds like your work in Starfinder Society played a pretty big role in that story and that setting change, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, it did. When we were making the switch to second edition, it was really fun as a team to get to go back and look at all of the adventure paths, all of the Starfinder Society seasons, all of those little standalone adventures. We did three, four, 3 or 4 scenarios in Polaris that had, sorry, not Polaris,
Did I say it wrong?
Polonus.
Polonus, I'm sorry.
No.
Columbus, yeah.
So that's why I said the planet name, and you looked like I was like saying something completely out of left field because I was.
Real talk, it's also because my son's favorite stuffed animal, sorry, all of his friends, if you ever see this, is named Polaris. So
Mm.
you said Polonus, and I was like, why are we talking about a stuffed bear? I heard you wrong. And then yeah. No, it's not a stuffed bear.
It's a stuffed cat.
Yeah. So we did quite a few adventures on there. On Polonus, helping the Patra. So that's one of those ones that is really nice to get to see when we all hit the room and we went, what kind of stories do we want to see? Like, what were the outcomes? What do we want to show on screen? And the last season for first edition, right? We did a lot of those big changes. We did them literally on screen, like blowing up Octurne was a society scenario, right? You could be there and run for your life. Um, all kinds of cool stuff like that. So it was really nice to get to have everyone like figure out what is the canon thing we want. How do we want this to have gone for them? And that was a really fun one. But like all the packed worlds, all the most people have a kind of a sector or a couple planets that are like their favorites. So, there was lots of fun in the little side ones and little places out in the vast and stuff too.
Now, do you have one that's your favorite?
Oh, I'm a big fan of in most media like dystopian style things. So I
Oh,
love Akaton. I love oh my goodness, cyberpunk themed things. I love oh, I just drew a blank. All right,
dystopia.
not naming that planet. Instead, I'm naming Diaspora, which is the other thing I really like.
Nice, nice. Now, one chat,
Peloria. There we go.
one
Sorry, it was gonna
question.
bug me.
Nah, you're good. I get you. I know that feeling. Now, one question that popped up in chat is obviously like this level of collaboration between organized play being, you and all of your scenarios, and also like the general direction of the Starfinder story is something that like we definitely didn't see in first edition, and it's pretty cool to see, honestly. I actually, as a matter of fact, when we had Mike on the show last month, he flat out called correct me if I get the quote wrong, James, but I believe the quote was, he said that like the story of Starfinder Society is the major story we're looking to tell in Pathfinder and Starfinder second edition.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. So with that, Lava being in chat asks, does your team plan on working with the adventure team to include like boons for organized play for non-scenario adventures, kind of like what we saw in Pathfinder first edition and Starfinder first edition? 'Cause
Um,
or
so
like, is it like because you guys are more of the like focus of the story? Is it like, nah, those are just side things that you've done?
So, do any org play season adventures tie into non-scenario adventures? Is
Yeah,
the
let's go
question?
with that. Yeah.
Um, yes. In short form, yes.
Mhm.
There are characters we've already had in some print adventures who you will see, or some events that have happened in those whose after effects are also happening in organized play
Mhm.
now. We might not necessarily wave a giant flag and say, hey, this thing. But yes, there is interplay between the two of them. There are things that are happening in Starfinder Society that affect the campaign setting. Um, Basically every season, right? If you've read Galaxy Guide, and you read the section on the Wreck of the Returned, that's literally the thing we're exploring right now in Starfinder Society. Like the
Mm.
things we're exploring are things in our hardcover books, things that intersect with our regular adventures, and vice versa, right? They affect each other. And each season, by the time we hit the end, it should have done something, right? When you finish
Yeah.
an adventure path, when you finish an organized play meta plot season, you should have done something impactful that has changed something in the system, something on the planet, something in the maybe even setting wide, right? So that's something that we are working in regularly, all through second edition. When we were writing Galaxy Guide, right? When we were brainstorming, what are the biggest stories that we want to tell in this edition? That's the stuff we put in Galaxy Guide. And for every single one of
Mm.
those, it wasn't this is the Starfinder one, right? This is you can have that one. It was which of these stories is the best to tell as an adventure path, as a standalone adventure, as an organized play scenario. Like if it needs a lot of space, it's probably an organized play scenario. Season, right? What's a meta plot? What's just a single adventure, right?
Mm,
So a lot of those things that we're doing this year, like Mike said, we put out so many society scenarios and so consistently that it is for second edition, it is our primary vector for adventure releases, right?
mm,
And then obviously we love all of our print adventures. So we have our, Guilt to the Grave World and other adventures and adventure paths.
mhm,
But yeah, no, Starfinder Society has partly the most, but also we are also doing those kind of big impactful stories, which
mm,
yes, wasn't always true in first edition for Starfinder Study. We're doing those things, right? Scoured Stars is a very impactful thing, but it doesn't mean it was always represented across lines, right? And because we're a much smaller team and everyone on the team has a lot of experience with organized play, a lot of respect for organized play, it was really important for all of us that we kind of integrated and stayed on the same page as much as possible.
Interesting, interesting. It's been a while since I've done like a big written adventure for Pathfinder, but back when I was doing a lot of those, like definitely among the freelancer community, there was kind of this sense that like, wow, I get to write an adventure path volume. I'm leaving my mark and my imprint on the scenario. And now it seems like, you could do that maybe even to an even greater extent here in organized play. Do you foresee a future where everyone's like, wow, I need to get me one of these scenarios so I can make a major contribution to the meta plot story of Starfinder second edition?
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. I guess we have to wait and see what the meta plot is and what it resolves and does before we see how much the freelancers start scrambling for the bit at your scenarios, huh?
So next season, obviously, we work so far in advance. Right now,
Yeah.
we're doing first season, we're doing Invasion's Edge, and it has
Mhm.
big ending. But I mean, I've already assigned the first eight eight scenarios for the second year already, right?
Wow.
So going into the next season, right, next year, which is not announced yet or anything, it is also a very big, impactful season with lots of secrets. We get to kind of dig into some things we don't normally dig
Mhm.
into. And for that one, I wanted to exactly for the if you've worked on adventure paths or you've worked on hardcover books, you'll know that you get the outline for the entire project, not just your little section,
Yeah.
right? And that you'll probably be in a Discord chat or something with lots of other people on the same book. So you can kind of work with other freelancers and things. And in Starfinder Society and Organized Play, that has not been a thing just because we release so many so quickly and you only get
Mhm.
the one you're working on. You don't need everything else, right?
Yeah.
But I found that well, for two reasons. First, I spend so much time trying to, in a big meta plot, you spend so much time trying to parcel out exactly what one person knows and not give spoilers for other things, which is really hard and it takes a lot of time, right?
Mhm.
But also, you lack that kind of community cross scenario collaboration when you should be able to
Mhm.
have it, right? So for our second season, I gave the full meta plot, the treatment in an outline as if it was an adventure path, all of it
Oh.
outlined at the same time, so that when I hire a freelancer, they can see the full story, not just the little silo they're working on. And also we can do things like have a Discord for all the people who are working on Metaplot for second year, right? So they
Mhm.
can kind of talk. And if there's, a stat block that somebody will need to reuse later, I can just put it in there, right? Once it's developed kind of thing. So
Wow.
we are also taking steps to like kind of do more of that community making you feel when you're writing a society scenario that you're not quite as isolated, right? Whereas with when you're doing those kinds of adventure work, it's a very different experience than when you're doing like a rule book that has 30 different people on it, right? Like those
Yeah.
feel different. So when you're sitting at home writing alone, it was kind of a nice thing to try to do this year to see if we could kind of fit it in, right? Like, because that's more front
Mhm.
loading work for me, but at the same time, it has the potential to be something helpful, kind of like on multiple levels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I still remember when we did Drift Hackers, how cool it was to have that community there, so it's pretty cool to
Mhm.
see that in other places.
Mhm.
Yeah, very cool. So I mean, right now, I think that's something that a lot of there's one or two freelancers in chat who are listening, and now all of them are sending you emails. So enjoy. You're gonna have work tomorrow.
I see you.
Yeah. So I guess with that, we've talked a little bit about like you've name dropped the name of the current season. Give us like the rundown. Like where do we find this the Starfinder Society like at the start of this season? And without giving us too many spoilers, like where are we going into the new scenarios that are coming out? I believe it's at the end of this month, right? Like, or no, it's the end of February, so it'll be next month in March.
Yeah. So this year we are doing Invasion's Edge. So this is kind of a year about exploration and discovery amid a mysterious alien starship that's on the
Mm.
planet Akaton. So at the end of last edition, I'm gonna back into the past here for a second. At the end of last edition, we were investigating a kind of doing a survey on an Abalonian first one city. So they're like ancient, mysterious beings nobody knows anything about, but they made
Mhm.
life on this planet, robot life. So we were kind of just exploring that. And through those explorations, as part of our meta plot at the end of first edition, we learned all kinds of cool things about the first ones, but we also clashed with a cult basically that was trying to call them back. And at the end of the season, we defeated them, but they did release a call and we ended the year and therefore the edition knowing that something received it and it's
Oh.
coming.
Uh-oh.
And because we had learned so much about the first ones, one of the primary things we learned is they were not good people. So this is bad. So in the start of second edition, in Galaxy Guide, and then at the very start of this edition, a big, massive alien starship has appeared out of nowhere in Akaton's upper atmosphere. It's come careening toward the planet, like so fast it's going to crack it in half. And then
Oh.
it just suddenly exploded and then crashed into the Sloughscar Hills. So curious explorers and opportunistic salvagers have kind of descended on this mysterious wreck. But within hours, the wreck's automated defense is activated and it drove out all these explorers, unleashed dangerous monsters and magical effects kind of into the region. This starship was dubbed the Wreck of the Returned. And
Mhm.
then the discoveries that came out of those initial first investigations led First Seeker Sarmak, who leads the Starfinder Society, to believe that the Wreck of the Returned had a connection to the first ones, and that it was actually the first step in an invasion of the Pact Worlds, but something had clearly gone wrong.
Mm.
So Sarmak has, at the beginning of the season, in our first scenario, he has established a Starfinder lodge in the surrounding Sloughscar Hills, and he's kind of put out of a call for brave Starfinders who want to help out, who want to help establish and defend this new fledgling lodge, but also we need to get and explore the wreck, right? So throughout this season, you can start the meta plot through there. Number
Mhm.
one is Invasion's Edge, which is a really great, also a great on ramp scenario for new players. It was like intentionally designed to kind of build skills on skills for brand new players since it was the very first one we released, but it's still like a full fun adventure.
Mm.
Or you can play number 10, Collision's Wake, which is special. It's a 4 hour long adventure, not 2 or 3 like the
Oh.
rest of our scenarios of the year are. And that one you play pre-gens, but you play like the first mercenaries who ever went into the wreck. Right. Though you're the ones who triggered the thing that sent all the stuff spilling out. My bad. Um, so you can jump in on that, or you can jump in on this. But the Collision's Wake serves as kind of like a prequel to the season, but it also includes some characters and foreshadowing that if you do play it, it gives you Easter eggs as you're playing the rest of the season, right? Characters in that who are side characters you get to meet show up as other characters later on in the season.
Huh.
So it's kind of got like some foreshadowing and some Easter eggs that we kind of pay off throughout the year, which was really fun to do.
See,
Um,
thinking out loud, hearing this, my brain just kind of fired. James ran Dead Sons for a bunch of us, and I feel like I could be wrong, but there's like the big scary thing at the end of book 6 that you find. Isn't that something that was made by the first ones? Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
we have foreshadowed the first ones and their impending return in multiple things and little bitty Easter eggy parts. Also, if you play Dawn of Flame, there's connections to the first one in that. We've got Anacytes and Avalon. We've got Planishars. oh my god, proto sites. Like there's lots of little places that we defeated them. So it was definitely one of the things when we were doing the switch over that we're like, okay, well, what's the next step in the story? I mean, they're coming, right?
Yeah.
Come on, come on.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right.
so we
That's
have foreshadowed they're coming quite a
that's
few times in first edition.
that's bad then, because the thing that's
You
at the end
know,
of Dead
yeah.
Sons is bad. The thing is in Dead Sons is why the adventure path is called Dead Sons. That's
You
not good.
know, and you know what? You know, at the end, that was a lot of fun. And the season 7, the last first edition metaplot is getting to see how much information can we give out about the first ones and really kind of foreshadow, like, how many ways can I tell you this is bad?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like in really subtle, fun, engaging ways as a play without like beating you over the head with it, right? It was a lot of fun, and it's
I only
again
need Dead
fun.
Sons.
Yeah.
I only needed that one.
And it was really fun coming into this now and going, okay, for if you played first edition, you will have clues, you'll have hints, you'll know things, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't, that's fine. A starship crashed and bad stuff came out, guys. We got to go in and figure it out, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a very user friendly kind of new
Yeah.
player friendly
And now this is the
storyline.
adventure that comes out next month in March, right?
Um
The adventure path.
um
The going into the wreckage part.
so the going into the wreckage, we've already kind of gone into the wreckage. So Collision's Wake is our first thing we released way back at Gen Con. 1-1, it was our launch scenario. And then in the time since then, we have made friends with allies, because obviously you're not the only ones who want to explore the wreck, right? So we've done some diplomacy thing, we've made teammates, we've explored kind of side wreckage. There have been many forces that have come out of the Wreck of the Returned, right? And they kind of fall into two major factions. There are these kind of Magitech robots who directly, literally came out of the wreck, right? So you fight these kinds of things throughout. But there's also local people who have started following the wreck, right? Or whatever is at the heart of it, right? And they're led by somebody called the Functionary. So we also have a lot of interaction with like the Functionaries forces and things like that throughout the season. This month, I believe, which one comes out this month? 17 and 18, I believe, come out this month. So 17 is standalone adventure, which is super fun involving the corpse fleet. But 18 is Midnights and Morrow, which is a takes place in this kind of like this constantly twilight big city on Akaton. It's in like this canyon. So it only gets sunlight for part of the day, and the city goes up the canyon walls and is lit by neon lights and all kinds of things like that. And you are looking for someone who we have mentioned in the prequel adventure way back in 1-0, who has some information you need, but you're not the only one trying to find her. So it is very much like a very different from some of the other meta plot this year where you're going into ruins or you're out in the desert or something, right? This one's very much like an urban, you're trying to track someone down, you're doing investigating, your dramatic rescues, all kinds of fun stuff like that. Is what's coming out next month.
I do love me a good urban adventure. One thing that really piqued my interest is when you mentioned that we make a whole bunch of friends and allies, because friends and allies means new ancestries. Does Starfinder Society give us new ancestries? Because I remember back in the day how crazy the community went over like the Morlamaws and the Easel Goons and the bug people. I don't remember who we honestly really committed war. Yeah, we committed like major war crimes against.
You did.
Oh, I think all of your friends did, James.
Yeah, all my friends. We were the good ones.
Yeah, so at the start of this season, we released a Invasion's Edge Player's Guide. The Invasion's Edge Player's Guide functions firstly as a quick start guide for getting into organized play. It has basic details on literally everything you need. What is organized play? What is the Starfinder Society? Where are some links for me to click to figure things out, right? How do I make a character, right? Like things like
Uh-huh.
that. It's just super streamlined, everything you need. It's also got setting information setting up Invasion's Edge, so you can just read this 2 paragraphs and know exactly what you're getting into this year. It
Mhm.
foreshadows a couple other, um, big stories we knew we were gonna start exploring with a scenario here or there. Um, in some kind of like other adventure stuff. And then it gives you character options. It gives you a whole bunch of new backgrounds specific to
Mm.
Starfinder Society, including things named after those old factions we don't have anymore. So you can take the data file background, right?
Hmm.
So some
Ah.
nice fun throwbacks and stuff like that. And then it's also got 2 brand new ancestries. So we gave it out for free at the start of the year. You can still download it for free now. And this one has Ikeshti in it and Shobads, which are both native to Akaton, so they interact with our meta plot.
Hmm. Makes
Um,
sense.
so we have the rule content, and then in each scenario, at the end of it, you'll have a chronicle sheet, and every single scenario comes with a new thing for a player.
Mm.
It will almost always be an item. Very rarely it will be a spell or something like that. You won't. You will meet new ancestries and things in Starfinder Society for sure, and you will get when the rules come out, you can assume they will be through Starfinder Society. But that's too big to put at the back of a chronicle sheet, right? So you won't get that from Adventure. You would get that from like a player's guide at the start of the year, or maybe a special download we do, to celebrate something after you've done so many missions in that region, kind of thing. We did right from launch have a really fun first contact style scenario, which was
Mhm.
really it was a bit different, right? Because we've done lots of first contact style things, but number 1, 2, Mystery of the Frozen Moon is a really fun one to give a shot if those are the kind of adventures that you like.
Hmm.
It's a good
I
one.
see. I'm a little disappointed to hear that you're not going to give me a 10-page chronicle sheet to put at the end of my character just so I had a new ancestry, though.
That might be a bit much for me to put in and also cram in there. They do actually take time to write.
Just make Dustin do it. It'll be fine.
And then I need art. See, where's this budget coming from?
Oh, that's
I
that's
don't think
that's
I can
harrowing.
swing 3 new ones also in addition to Player's Guide New Ancestries.
You just go into like the whatever book it is that the player's guide, and you just like take pictures of the pages and just put them just these little itty bitty unusable like horrible like screenshot
It'll be
gifs.
my scribbled drawing of a new ancestry. I gave it to you, look.
That's so funny. So does the Starfinder Society still cycle through First Seekers based on like the current mission of the society, or have you had the same First Seeker for a while?
It's usually every 4 years
Mhm.
we we put out a when you hit a certain level in organized play, if your character's got enough, we give you basically, hey, email us details on your really cool high level Starfinder.
Uh-huh.
And then every 4 years we do basically an election. So
Oh.
we internally will go through all of the characters who've been submitted by players and pick out, say, 4, usually is a good number, that represent different types of characters who will work for, the season, who are not blatantly rip-offs of other pop culture. So can't pick everybody. But and then we'll make an adventure that introduces those characters to you through play. And basically, you get to meet all these ones, and each one will have a different platform, basically, the
Mhm,
thing that they most want to explore or
mhm.
do. Um, and then we have a public voting. So we originally started with Luazi Alcibo was our first seeker way back in first edition, who had taken over from Jed Nura. And then the first public election we did elected first seeker Ehu Hadith, who
Mhm.
brought us lots of exploration in different places and things like that. And then at season 6 in number 66 Tomorrow's Seekers, I believe it was, we met the 4 new candidates and then had a public election. And the winner was First Seeker Sarmak. And they have been, their first year in charge was season 7.
Mhm.
And then they have continued to be our First Seeker and will be for a few more years for sure. It's interesting to see, though, how that changed
Hmm.
our direction
Mhm.
because every one of those candidates that I pull, right, I need to know that they will have the potential to lead us someplace. So you'll obviously tell me what their, my character likes, I don't know, asteroids, and they like to race in junk races. Cool. But I need to, ahead of time, know what kind of meta plot I would tell with that character, right? So if you play Tomorrow's Seekers, there's 4 different ones. Every single one of those, I had to go, okay, this is what meta plot this would eventually lead us to. And First Seeker Sarmak's things he cared about were ancient civilizations with very advanced technology and very large places because he was a large Izalgoon, so he liked big spaces. So mega structures and things like that. So when we were doing that, that very first scenario with him involves mention of the first ones, and the meta plot we went into for that last year was the first ones because it directly tied into the First Seekers storyline, right? So in alternate reality, if we had gone with a different one, we would not be doing for this first year first ones, right? We would have
Hmm.
put something else in Galaxy Guide to be that thing, and probably first ones would have been something we would have done maybe later on or in another venue or in another type of print product, right? But because that very much shaped where we were going, right? If we had one of the other ones win, I already know what storyline that would have been, right? And that would have been the one that would be bringing us in, that we would have foreshadowed, that we would have set up already, kind of thing. So
So
it
now,
very much did chart kind of our course going forward, right?
so you're saying that in the future, not only are you voting for like the leader you want to lead you, but the kind of story you want for the campaign. That's really
Yes,
interesting.
yes.
That's a really interesting insight. That does make me kind of sad though to hear that James's high level envoy is automatically disqualified. Poor Hatsune Miku.
Mitsuku Hana, you got it wrong.
Mitsuku
It's
Han.
fine. I took tour buses through scenarios. Okay, I had my fun.
That was the greatest. We had this adventure where like the whole point was like trekking across like a frigid ice planet, and James spent all of his money at that level buying a tour bus instead of like good armor or weapons.
Because I was a pacifist, I didn't shoot anybody. So we just had a hover bus, and the GM was very confused, but he was very polite about it.
Yeah. See, now you have a lot of people in chat who are like dying to know what other characters season 1 would have looked like, but obviously you can't tell them that because those storylines are still on the table.
Exactly. I mean, those characters who were candidates are still characters. I put them in the scenario. They're a part of Starfinder canon. So one of them, for example, was Dr. Heldon Savale, and he was very much into um, making medicinals, making healthcare free throughout the galaxy, finding and cataloging alien species so that we could have better information on all these kinds of weird alien proteins and all that kind of stuff, weird plants, all kinds of things you can do with them, right? That character has shown up in this season already, right? And they are, oh goodness, they have at least 2 more cameos throughout the season because when that point comes and I need someone who can do something like that, what a wonderful character to bring in, right? So we'll still get a touch of them going forward. Another one was Nikiti, who was really into weird, magical, strange things, and she's kind of a diviner, not a designer, and could tell the future. So she was really fun to include because I can drop hints for things that are literally the future. I know the future, right? As far as Starfinder is concerned.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
really fun to get to put in the most obscure things that can later come true, right? And to also take their plot, for example, we will see them again, and the story that we would have done, we are still going to get a chance to do. We've already kind of started laying the groundwork. I think I've already assigned the first scenario that will kind of lead into that kind of thing. So it won't be a meta plot, right? But it will be a multi-adventure
Mhm.
series. So like we'll still get some of the stories, um, but certainly not on the same scale, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that brings me to another question. Back in James and my heyday, when we were doing a lot of society stuff, it was forever ago. Thirsty was still a developer instead of being like Mona's right hand or whatever he is now.
Mr. Important. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
Mr. Important. And back at the time he used to talk about I have a 5-year plan for Starfinder Society. I'm sticking to the 5-year plan. Do you have a 5-year plan, Jessica?
We
Like
have
how
a many-year plan. I don't know if it's 5 exactly.
Ooh.
Season 2, I said I'm already assigning season 3. I already know where we're going. Season 4. Yeah.
Jessica's like, there are many years in the plan.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are many years, right? Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I feel like that's maybe a selling point of Starfinder, and I guess Paizo as a
Mhm.
whole, just organized play, is that it is a very responsive campaign. Like it's a lot of content, which is I think if you are in the sphere and you go outside of it, you don't realize how spoiled you are.
Yep.
Gosh, have
We
you
sure make
seen?
a lot.
Listen, I play a dragon game that people could probably guess with some friends, and my
Mhm.
poor GM, there's like maybe 5 adventures and like maybe one a year. Like I just keep telling him, I'm like, man, you don't know how like spoiled you'd be if you just went to Paizo. They would like feed you adventures on grapes while you lounged back in your gaming chair.
Yeah, you will not keep up. You can't.
It's
Yeah.
impossible to keep up.
You can't. You can
Uh,
try though. I invite you to.
like my groups are still working through back matter from the original Pathfinder,
Yeah.
Yep.
and it's
I
been
most
years.
certainly have adventures on my shelf that have not been played. Many of
Yes,
them.
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
They'll
Yeah.
get done eventually.
All right. So here's the big question. Are you ready? Ready? I'm going to
Mhm.
do to you what every Starfinder Society player character does to their initial, the guy who gives them the quest at the beginning of the adventure, right?
Mhm.
Every group I've ever seen does this to their GM and to their adventure captain. Uh, what questions haven't I asked you that I should ask you?
What questions haven't you? Let me think. You should ask about. Man, I should have warned you. I'm bad at ad-libbing.
Oh no. So the answer is none. I should come prepared with all the
You should
questions.
ask me anything you can think of. You should ask me.
Are there any themes
Hmm.
in Starfinder Society that you would really like to explore that you haven't been able to explore yet? Ooh.
That's a
Mm,
high concept
I
question.
don't know. I'm gonna say no because you know what's really nice about being the only person in Starfinder Society? I
Mhm.
get to do whatever I want.
Listen, I was telling
If
James
I
earlier.
want to do the thing, I just do the thing.
Such power.
Listen, I was telling James earlier that like through a series of unfortunate events, I'm doing two people's jobs at my work right, my new job right now, and it's very stressful. But man, oh man, I get to do whatever I want in terms of like laying the groundwork and how I want the program to be run. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is nice. This part is nice. The part where I come home exhausted, but the part where I'm in charge.
Yep, there sure is a whole lot. It is a lot, but
Mhm.
I do get to do whatever I want.
Do you have a favorite Starfinder Society NPC that has not been in a Starfinder Society adventure this year?
I love Fitch. Fitch of
Mm.
the Wayfinders. I love that old granny rat folk. Hit me with it. They will be in an upcoming scenario,
Ah,
which I can't say what it is, but it is longer than typical, and it will be out at Gen Con next year. So that is very
ah,
exciting.
Mm.
Um, I also, oh my gosh, there's so many. I love Ziggy also.
Mm.
I
huh.
haven't had a really great place to work Ziggy in as like main star in a scenario. Firstly, because one of the things I got to do making the switch over right between editions is go, where are all these characters, right? And you know what? I'm sorry. Ziggy needed a vacation. Let's be real. Ziggy and Salita needed to go have a vacation, take some time. Ziggy really went through it all the first edition.
Yeah.
They needed time off. So now they're gonna come back and I'm finding a good place to put them in where it's not just me shoehorning them in just because I want to see them.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have a lot of
They've got
like,
to be important, you know?
yeah, we have a lot of fans in chat who are screaming for different characters. People want to know about Arvin, people want to know about Ziggy, people want to know about the other one that I see
Luwazi.
here, Duwazi. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love Luazi. Luazi, we will have a chance to see not this first season and not I don't think second either, but we do want to get back into those things that really mattered to those characters, like Jed Nura and Luwazi. You know, they've got touches on the Scoured Stars. Luwazi actually is in, I'm not crazy, Guilt of the Grave World.
Hmm.
Oh,
Anybody
I
wants to see a
haven't.
cameo?
Oh, I'll have to reread that. I don't remember.
Maybe I'm crazy. I'm pretty sure I'm
It's
not
okay. I'm
crazy.
probably crazy too. You know, one of your coworkers keeps spamming like an apple emoji as like the one that he
Datch.
wants back.
You want
I
more Datch back?
listen, you I'm
I
sure
got
you know
Datch
which
back in like season 6.
I'm sure you
Season
know.
6.
But if Dash came back, would it be like a Hannibal Lecter situation where they're just locked in a prison cell and you go to visit them in jail? Like that's got to be
Poor
the only
Datch.
thing that it is, right?
I like Datch so much, but no, I think somebody would throw apples at me if I brought Datch back again without severe intent, which is what I brought them back for last time. But I saw somebody calling out for more Arvin. I love Arvin. Arvin's the greatest. They are obviously your low-level friendly venture captain for everything low level for you newbie Starfinders. We did talk a bit about their family history at the season 6,
Hmm.
and I would like to do more with that. I believe in season 2 we have a scenario that starts near Arvin's house. Because like just something's going down in his neighborhood. He's like, come on, guys, help.
What?
Just go do this thing for me. Don't ask.
Do me a solid.
Can I make a request for an NPC that we don't have to see again?
Yes.
I really don't like the Kasatha in Scoured Stars. The one that you find in like the middle of the planet meditating, like the first seeker who went missing and then just does
Oh.
nothing. I don't he's not one of
Jednur.
my favorites. Yeah, Jed Nura. I don't like Jed Nura. That man can go away. All the other ones are
You
great.
mean
I
the
do
first
not like
seeker before
Yeah.
Luazi?
We had a fun season. The very last adventure of first edition for Starfinder Society had Jen Nura inviting you to come witness this very fun, totally not dangerous event in the Scoured Stars. And we got Thurston to write it. I was like, Thurston, just go ham. Literally do whatever you want. Whatever Scoured Stars thing you want to pull back for this, do weird hit me. And he did just the most ridiculous thing. If you haven't played it, you should play it. The boon at the end is very impactful. People, how
Is it a
long can I
first
go
edition
without
boon or
spoiling
is it
it?
a second
It
edition
is a
boon?
first edition boon, but it has an effect on second edition.
Oh.
Oh.
And if you've played it, you'll know why. And it was really, really fun. Also, I got to foreshadow at the end, there's a scene that has like glimpses of the future, but we don't tell you it's glimpses of the future, but you should be able to guess. But so it was really fun. Get to be like, I'm gonna foreshadow this and have some Wreck of the Returned and have this thing I'm not gonna tell you about that's in season 2 and have this thing that I'm gonna do in like season 4 and like just spit so many things at you in like little glimpses and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
This is a spicy question. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Lava Being Chat says, "Do you have a Grandmaster Torch figure, someone you want to force on the community, despite the community loathing them?"
How can you hate
Now
Torch?
that is a debatable. Now, some people would say that sometimes Torch maybe had something important to say, but
I'm very Torch neutral. I thought it was weird that he kept wanting to meet me in the bathtub,
yeah,
but
yeah.
other than that, like cool, I guess. And then he went bad, and I was like, all right,
I
cool.
don't think there's anyone that I would force on if everybody clearly loathed them. Because, I mean, we want a villain, for example, to really make you want to hate them. That's good, right? If you can show a bitten apple at someone and they'll be like, God damn it, I hate Datch, that's perfect. We want that. Like, perfect. But when it's an ally, right? Like if everybody hated Ziggy. I mean, okay, I'm gonna hear, right? I am in touch with the community. I will hear and not cram them down your throat all the time. But you know, Ziggy can do no wrong, so we're fine. But
would you ever
No,
consider
I
like
don't think I would cram it down there. We are, especially Pathfinder and Starfinder Society both, but obviously I can only speak for Starfinder, are very responsive, right? Like we were saying before, right? When every time your, GM hits the end and they fill out those little reporting boxes and they let me know what happened at the end of a scenario, I do get to see all that, right? Like if so and so died, we get to know, right? So we want to see what you do in a scenario, and we do check the message boards and we do hear the community thing, and we do touch base with people, right? Because we want to see what adventures you loved best and what adventures you didn't like, and then if you didn't like them, I want to know why you didn't like them, right?
Mm,
And if there's a character that just needled everybody and they hated it, then those are the things I want to know, right? So that we can go back to those places people loved, and then we can step away a little bit from those things they didn't, right? And we've had really, really great response to basically all our scenarios this year. We only have a single one, which was delightful, that does not have literally excellent reviews. And it's because it's very short, right? Because I needed to take the time to figure out what is too high, like what's too long to fit in the time slot and what's too short to fit in the time slot. Because we were going down to a 2 to 3 hours scenario. So literally one of them I was like, I think it's too short, but it's so great. And that is the only one, because the feedback came and it's like too short. And I'm like, I knew it. But like I found the bumpers early, right?
good.
Yeah,
And literally all of the comments are just, it's great and it's too short. I'm like, yep, okay, we found the boundaries, right? Like I was trying to hit them early, right? But like all the other scenarios, including even that one, like we've got such good feedback from them. It's nice to see what are people's favorites, especially when you can replay them lots, right?
yeah.
We're coming
Uh,
up on time here. Oh,
I,
go ahead. You
I
go,
got one.
James.
I will contend Grandmaster Torch is maybe a character that you can only get in a society environment. It's like a character throughout their wrestling career, where it's somebody that you've met. Their role has changed throughout time. Like the last scenario you do with Torch is like an 18th level scenario that has a hard mode. It is a very impactful scenario for somebody who came into society late and only knew him as the weird bathtub guy. Uh,
Yeah.
it was so satisfying to have a conclusion to that story after that change. It's like watching like the Undertaker's career or something. It's like it's something that could only exist in this format.
Yes, exactly.
Nice, nice. So like we're coming up on the end of our interviews. Has there ever been any data that you've gotten from these end of scenario checklists that surprised you?
Yeah. There was a scenario in, oh goodness, season 5. I'm gonna call it now. We're going with my gut. Season 5,
Mhm.
where a fragment of the first world has taken root in Akaton, and it like sparked this big planar bloom. It was during the Drift Crisis.
Mhm.
And it formed like this really verdant forest and everything, this jungle, and then you're like, we got to go check this out, right? Like important. So you go check it out, and everybody in this town you go to is just real chill, and everybody's having a good time. And you meet these two warring gangs, and they're having like a rap off, and you're like, what is going on? And it's just weird, right? And then you head into the forest and all kinds of spoilery things, but in the end you're fighting the bad guy. They're the bad guy, they're doing bad things, but because there are so many different things at stake and things on the line, and um they try to negotiate with you, right? Like, oh, I'll stop this thing in exchange for this thing, right? And that was one of the ones where I didn't know if people were going to fight this person, which probably objectively the thing you should do, right?
Mhm.
But or were they going to take their first deal, which is really a bad deal for you, really bad? Or were they going to try to do like this weird compromise thing, which still has you give up more than you would normally see in this kind of thing, right? Like you're still clearly getting the bad deal,
Mhm.
right? And there are things they will not budge on. And I was really expecting more people to just punch them in the face. And no, it came back with like really like because you're not just dealing with this, you're also trying to figure out what to do about this location too, right?
Mm.
So like it was really interesting to see how many groups tried to walk that middle line of like we want to keep this verdant thing because it's really good for the planet, but also maybe stop that weird stuff that's going on in that town. And then also, yeah, I guess you can stay and we won't punch you, but but here's kind of the bargain we made. Like there was lots of things to kind of try to weigh in that, and I was really surprised at how it came out. Like it was
Mm.
people put in the work. And it's not often you see like they're willing to take a bad compromise, but they worked for it, and it was really surprising.
Mm.
Ah, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well, uh, I mean, I think we're here at the end of our interview. So is there any shout outs you'd like to make to anything?
To yeah, come play Starfinder Society. Also, play
Oh,
Pathfinder Society because they're pretty great too. And shout out to literally the entire Starfinder team. We are a very small team, and everybody is working hard to make you cool stuff all the time.
oh. Is there anybody on the Starfinder team you think we should interview next? I mean, I think we have Galactic Ancestries coming up soon, but who do you think we should ask if they want to come on?
We just talked to Mike.
Yeah.
You should talk to Dustin.
Dustin, you think you'll
Yeah.
want to talk to us about a
Might take you
galactic
my hand.
ancestries? Well, maybe. We'll see. Well,
He's right there.
I'll
Ask him.
yeah.
Come
Hey,
on.
Dustin, do
You
you
don't
want to
want to
come
work
on?
with these people, right?
Dustin, should I ask Rue if you can come on and play with us? Knock, knock, knock. Hey, Paizo, can Dustin come out to play? Oh, he doesn't even give me a hard time. He just says yes. Okay. Well, I believe next month is Galactic Ancestry, so we'll see. Maybe we'll have some Galactic Ancestry stuff involving a certain squawks. But until next time, go beyond with no direction.